Yeah, I just accepted my defeat on this one, but I'll be back next time.
Welcome to the Weekly Fix podcast, where we're just two friends talking about our passions within movies, TV shows, gaming, and comics. Thanks for checking out the podcast. We hope you like it. Well, it's a new month, and we're here at Weekly Fix. Excited to bring you another episode of the podcast. I'm your co-host Zane, and joined with me as always is Jacob. Jacob, busy week. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. I had an awesome weekend. My brother came down to visit us here in Jacksonville. So we got to do a lot of fun stuff. We went shopping one day. We spent a whole day at the beach yesterday, which was really cool. We got to eat out, every day or sometimes twice a day, which is always nice if you're a foodie like I am. So I love eating out. Super awesome time. I have another pumpkin spice cream chai in my hands as we're recording this podcast. So it really couldn't get any better. But if it could get any better after this podcast, I will finally be hopping onto the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta, which I'm super happy about and super excited to play. I know you're not a big Call of Duty fan and probably couldn't care less. But no, for me, this is like prime time gaming. We just had Star Wars Outlaws come out. So no, it's been a really great, week and weekend for me.
Oh yeah, two massive games for you. I know. Why don't you talk a little bit about Star Wars Outlaws for us?
Yeah,
What
absolutely,
are you
man.
thinking of it?
So it's been getting a lot of hate, and I think the reason it's been getting hate is because people have become obsessed with like the Souls-like genres, like stuff like Elden Ring and stuff like that. And that's not ever what this game was marketed to be. And I feel like the people that have understood that's not what this game is supposed to be have sang the praises for this game. And I'm one of those people that I knew that's not what this was going to be. And it's just like an open world story game is what they explained it as. They didn't, say it was going to be a Souls game. They didn't say there was going to be these epic boss fights. No, this is a more of a decision-making, story-led game, which I really personally enjoy those styles of games just as much as I enjoy, those Souls-like games, where you're spending hours on just one boss. I love both types of games. So I'm super happy that we're getting a Star Wars game that's like this because we already do have that Souls-like Star Wars game in the Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order series. So this is a nice breath of fresh air for me. I haven't got to play a game like this in a while. And so far, I'm about 6 hours into it. I haven't gotten a whole lot of time to play. But no, it's been really fun. I think they did a really good job with the characters that we've gotten. I love K-Vess. I love Nyx. They are characters that I would love to see in live action or animated form at some point in the future because I think they're really, really cool characters and they're a great story to follow. But overall, the game is absolutely gorgeous. I'm playing it on my PS5, so it runs really smooth for me. And I know some people that are on gaming PCs did have a little bit of an issue figuring out their settings and stuff like that. But I feel like once they figured all that stuff out, they really have enjoyed it and it's looked gorgeous. The worlds are super fun. We're getting to go to a few different planets that we've never heard of or not ever seen really in video games or in movies and shows and stuff like that, which has been really fun to explore. But we also still have your familiar places like Tatooine, which is really cool. And I feel like Tatooine's kind of like that trademark Star Wars planet, but it is still cool to see it through different eyes of different characters and the way different developers want to explain how the system works. Overall, it's been super fun. If you're on the fence about trying the game out, I would highly recommend it. And there's many ways you can play the game without having to spend the full $70 on it. You could actually go into the Ubisoft Plus subscription. It's only $20, or I think it's $17.99 a month, and you get access to the game through that subscription. So if you just wanted to try it out, $17 I feel like isn't too crazy, and you also get access to a ton of other Ubisoft games. So that's super cool. So highly recommend it if it's something you're interested in. But overall, it's been an absolute blast.
Okay, so you touched on a lot there, but like what time line is this set in?
So I believe this is taking place in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So it's a really
Okay.
fun time period. So if you're not really interested in that original trilogy stuff, you might not like a lot of the things here. But it does feel very new and refreshing, even though it is a lot of that same stuff that we already know. If you aren't familiar, Kay Vess is kind of like a Han Solo. She kind of like that smuggler, that swashbuckling character. And it's a really fun game because we're getting to interact with all these different crime bosses, these different syndicates. We have the Pike Syndicate, we have Crimson Dawn. We even get to talk to Jabba the Hutt. It's been a really fun way to experience a lot of these different crime worlds that we haven't really got to a whole lot of touch on in the shows and movies and stuff like that.
And so you're not a hero, correct?
I wouldn't say you're a hero, because you're not really doing, at least to where I'm getting. Now, maybe she ends up helping the what's it called, the rebels in some way or form, by the end of the game. But where I've
Okay.
gotten, this is definitely a very self-centered game of, she's gotten into some trouble, she needs money, she's trying to figure out a way to survive, and she's really just doing what's best for her. You're betraying crime bosses if you want to do that, and I gotta say, I've already done that a few times and already hurt my reputation with some of these crime bosses just because I wanted to work with the other ones a little more. So it is really
Okay.
fun that you get to make those decisions, but I definitely wouldn't say you're a hero, at least at the point where I'm at. I think you're definitely focused on yourself and making sure you can be successful rather than helping the greater good.
Now, is there any like co-op in this at all, or is it solo, like fully single player?
This is a fully single player game, so if you're a person that does need other people to play with, probably definitely not for you. But I think a lot of the people that were interested in this game kind of knew that. So if you're one of those people that likes to be able just to play a game on your own time, it's perfect for that.
Okay. Now, is there a chance that you finish this game with Black Ops 6 coming out?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Black Ops 6 is just the beta right now, so we still have. I think it comes out in October. I might be wrong. I should probably know that, but I don't know the exact date. But the beta ends on Wednesday, and then we have another beta next weekend. But it's just another weekend beta, so there's plenty of time between Black Ops 6 coming out and this game. This is actually a game I plan on platinuming because I'm enjoying it that much. So no, I'll definitely get through it before the Black Ops 6 comes out fully.
That's a lot of fun. I love those single player story driven games. This one wasn't on my radar. I'm still gonna. I mean, it was definitely on my radar, but I'm still actually waiting to play Jedi Survivor.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No,
uh,
it's a super fun game, and if I don't know if you've ever played the like Uncharted games.
oh yeah,
This is
some of my
definitely in
favorites.
that. Yeah, so you would love this game. It's very similar to that, but just with an open world vibe. So the
Okay.
combat is very similar. It's kind of like that, but you kind of get to really dictate where you go. Except when you get into like those main story missions, they do make it a little more linear to kind of push you down a path to make sure you're not straying too far off. But no, if you like the Uncharted games, I think this is like an amazing game. It's like that with a Star Wars skin in an open world.
So, do you feel like this plays probably more toward a beginner gamer, or do you feel like it? You kind of have to play a few games before you kind of get into this one.
No, I think you could play this. This could be like the first game you ever played. Like, say you're just getting into video gaming and you just are a big Star Wars fan. It's not hard. There's no intense movement mechanics. The aiming is pretty easy. They definitely help you out with like aim assist and stuff like that. There are no bosses that, at least that I've encountered, that are taking hundreds and hundreds of ticks of damage or anything like that. Most people die in 3 or 4 shots, which is really cool. You also have a stun ability, which you hit them with a stun and they go down instantly. So there's a lot of cool things that I think cater to newer gamers, but the story is engaging enough that it's not boring for those people that have played a lot of story player games and just enjoy like a good system. So I definitely think it's catered to all audiences.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's super exciting and a pretty great overview, especially for being only 6 hours into the game. Now, do you know like what the normal runtime for completing the game is?
I believe it's about 25 hours to 30 hours if you're just doing just the story. Now,
Okay.
I think if you're trying to platinum it, I have seen people say that it does take about 50 to 60 hours. But again, I haven't looked super into that. So, because I'm still trying to beat the story, and I'm not looking up how to do the trophies yet because I don't want any like story points
Spoilers.
spoiled for me. So, I think it's around 50 to 60 hours for 100%ing, but I think you can get through the main story in about 25 to 30 hours.
Wow, that's pretty quick. Yeah, I just lost my solo honor mode run at 80 hours in, so on Baldur's Gate, so that was pretty
Yeah,
disheartening. So it would
this
be
is
nice to be able to
definitely.
finish it within 100 hours.
Yes, this is definitely not like a Baldur's Gate experience. This is definitely a game you could beat in a couple weeks. At least the main story, if that's really the path you wanted to take. If you just wanted to blitz through the story, just to kind of understand where Star Wars is at, because obviously all these games that come out are canon. So if you want to just keep up with what's going on, this is a game you could definitely get through in a couple weeks if you just put in a couple hours, every evening or something like that. If you have time for that, or even just an hour a day or something like that, I don't think you'd have any trouble really getting through it.
Yeah, that's funny. You said it's like take around 50 hours to platinum to 100% it, because I just looked up how long it would take to 100% Baldur's Gate, which I know some of the trophies in there require you to fully do the campaign at least 3 times because of just different things you have to do. But yeah, they say around 260 hours is
Yeah.
about as minimum amount of hours it takes to 100% Baldur's Gate.
That's like a game that if you like aren't like a streamer, like you don't get paid to play video games, that's like a year-long venture. Like you're gonna
Oh
take
yeah.
like about a year to get through that platinum. But no, this is definitely a lot more easy. The barrier to entry for this game, I feel like, is a lot easier than something like that.
Okay. Now, I since you mentioned it, I do want to talk about it a little bit. You said Black Ops 6 is coming out. Now, Call of Duty is Call of Duty, right? So there can't be anything exciting about this. Can you prove me wrong with that one or no?
No, it's pretty much Call of Duty. They are implementing like a new movement system. It's called the Omni movement system, so you can kind of move and sprint in almost any direction. It's not like a full tactical sprint, like if you're experienced with current Call of Duties, but your character does move faster, laterally and stuff now. I would say that's probably the biggest change. Other than that, it's pretty much a copy and paste. So if you're not a psycho like me and don't just have to play every new Call of Duty that comes out every single year, you're not missing anything. I doubt the story is really going to be that great because the Call of Duty stories usually aren't ever that good. So no, I think this is pretty much a copy and paste, unless you do like it and want to keep up with it like I do. No, I think that movement system is about it, and it's really not even that big of a change. They kind of just let you move a little bit more freely, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I've actually seen some clips on Twitter about some pretty insane movements with the stem in the beta right now. So it does seem like the movement's quite a bit different, or just they're probably increasing the skill gap for
Yes,
sure.
yes. I would say it definitely increases the skill gap probably pretty tremendously because if you do get in the lobby with someone that really knows the movement system, you're probably going to get beat pretty badly. Um, but Call of Duty also does have skill-based matchmaking, so they're probably not going to put you in those lobbies 9 times out of 10. So whether you like skill-based matchmaking or not, I think it is still something you could hop into if you wanted to.
All right, sweet. Uh, well, I also wanted to ask you this question. Where was the best place you ate this weekend? You said you had a long weekend. You got to eat out every time in Jacksonville. Where was your favorite spot?
Man, we didn't stray too far off the beaten path. We kind of stayed around the places that you had taken us to, and we absolutely love. I don't know how to pronounce it, but there's like that Korean bubble tea place that we went to after the Deadpool
Oh,
and Wolverine
Tiscarco?
movie. Yes, that place.
Whatever it
I
is.
yeah, whatever, however you pronounce that.
Cisco?
My brother is a big bubble tea fan, so we took him there, and he absolutely loved it. He loved the Korean fried chicken. So I'd probably say that was probably our favorite place that we went to. We did when we went. We did go down to St. Augustine, and we did a little bit of shopping down there. And we went to a place called the Beachside Diner, and it was really great, kind of your normal diner food. But we just wanted something kind of quick and easy, and it was really good too. So I would say those were probably our two favorite places that we ate this weekend.
My brother-in-law actually he stayed in St. Augustine the last time he visited us, and he went to that beachside diner, and he said it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So it's been on my radar. Diners aren't generally something that I like to go to. I feel like it's a little bit more basic and generic. It seems like you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get what you're going to get.
a
But
hundred
whenever I
percent.
hear someone say the diner is amazing, there usually is something to it. So it's
Well,
that's two in a row that I've heard were very good.
I will preface you with like you're not going to get anything there that's going to like blow your mind. Like you're not going to be like, "Oh, you got to try this thing." It definitely is diner food, but it's done well. So like if you did want something that like I wouldn't say it's really comfort food cuz it's not, but it's like you get what I'm saying. It's kind of that vibe of like what you're going to get is probably going to be somewhat good even if it's not like at a good restaurant, but they do take it to that level of actually being good on top of it being something that is going to be good if that kind of makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. That definitely makes sense. But we do now skipping on to a little bit of the news aspects. We did get a first I guess set photo leak for the thing in the Fantastic Four. Were you able to see that?
Yes, I did.
All right, so we got a little set. Just break it down for you guys a little bit. We got a little photo taken. I think it was actually a video from an upward angle, and they're using a in-person suit for the thing, and it looks pretty good from my take. I love the classic look that they're going with the massive eyebrows, and that they're just using an onset person instead of just a three-dimensional or just a 3D tracking suit with balls all over the guy. So I am glad that they're moving that. But what did you think of the suit?
I think my favorite thing about the suit, honestly, was the fact that he's going to be in a full Fantastic Four costume as well. I think a lot of the time
Okay.
we see the thing kind of just being like the shorts or something.
Yeah.
As we've seen in like the previous Fantastic Four. I really like that they're giving him a suit. I feel like that's not usually it's a little bit different. I don't think there's probably some comic runs where he wears the full suit and stuff. But I feel like most people when they think of the thing just think about him in like the shorts. So I really like that he's getting a full suit. Now whether that's like one scene that he's actually in the full suit and then he probably makes some joke about it being too tight and he probably flexes and it pops off or something. I don't know. But I feel like that would be really cool if he does get to keep the suit for the entire movie.
Yeah, I think traditionally in comics, I don't think he's ever wearing a full suit from what I
Yeah.
can remember. So
No, I
I'm
don't think
curious to see
so
how
either.
that'll look.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. I also agree with the sentiment that they're actually doing a costume. Like I like that so much better than them trying to CGI something or anything like that. I think ultimately it's going to make the movie look better. And from what we saw, it did look like a really good costume. So I'm definitely excited to see how it actually comes to the screen.
Yeah, some people were making comments like, "Hey, don't worry, guys. Age of Ultron, Ultron looked like this on the set photos, and he looks so good in the movies." And I'm like, honestly, I thought the suit looked great.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
So
think anytime you can use a traditional suit, I think it's a win.
yeah, and apparently, he did use the full suit in the Ultimate Comics run. So I wonder if that's a little hint to
Okay.
what level of power we're getting from the Fantastic Four. Do you want to go ahead and break down what the Ultimate Marvel Universe is for those listening?
Yeah, so the Ultimate Marvel Universe, you probably will be able to give a better example than I am because I think you've actually read some of the comics. But I'm new to it. I just started reading Ultimate Spider-Man, and it's kind of like everyone's peak form. It does have a fun storyline going on, at least in the Spider-Man universe, where Spider-Man ends up not ever getting bit by the spider. I forget what the name of the villain is. It's like an evil Reed Richards, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
the Thinker.
Yes, the Thinker. That's what it is. He comes to the universe and takes Spider-Man Spider. I think it's 30 years later. Tony Stark shows up and says, "Hey, this is the spider you were supposed to get bit by. It was taken from you, and you were supposed to be one of the greatest heroes of all time. If you want it, you can have it. If not, that's fine. I'll find somebody else." But he ends up taking it, and it actually becomes like the ultimate form of Spider-Man, which I love that storyline. I think that's really fun. And I think it kind of makes sense because I think this Fantastic Four is supposed to be really strong. If we're going to be getting Doctor Doom putting together this Secret Wars, Doomsday-esque stuff going on, there's going to be probably a pretty high power curve there. And I feel like a lot of our other MCU heroes and villains have been pretty strong. We know how strong Scarlet Witch is. Doctor Strange is incredibly strong. So these villains that are coming up are going to have to be really strong, and it would make sense that the Fantastic Four is also there. So if that is a hint at, that would be a really cool thing that you caught. If that would be awesome. You heard it here first. But no, I think that would be really cool if they did give us like kind of these peak power characters just for a little bit, just to let us see like what it would look like on the big screen.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to, especially you talked about some of the villains upcoming that they're facing, but not let alone in their own movie they're facing Galactus.
Yes.
So, I mean, to go up against Galactus is in and of itself a feat that's very challenging, and I'm curious how they're going to come out on top. Uh, but I am excited for that movie. I keep getting more and more excited the more stuff that comes out. The Fantastic Four isn't a team that I generally think fondly of, and maybe that's just because the movies were my first introduction to them, and they were meh. I thought that was fine. I thought it was a fun movie. I watched it and enjoyed it, but it was never something that really like I wanted to rewatch and rewatch again. So I'm excited to see if they can actually do them justice.
Yeah, I mean it's the first superhero family. I think is what everyone you kind of claims
First
them to
family.
be. Yeah, so I think it's a great story. There's obviously a really good story to be told there. And I agree with you. My first introduction with them was those older movies. So I hope this kind of does maybe make me a little more excited to see that logo because usually when I see the Fantastic Four logo, I'm just like, it's just a four. But it'd be really cool if it gives us some meaning and might kind of makes us feel something. We feel something when we see the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? We have a
Oh yeah.
connection to them. I would love for if they could somehow pull that off with the Fantastic Four. I think that'd be fantastic. See what I did there?
I got it. I got it. Yeah. I was gonna mention it before you did. So,
Yeah.
very nice. But so we did get one other piece of news that I wanted to cover real quick that you actually sent to me, but it's as soon as you sent it to me, it was all over my feed. But Josh Brolin has been rumored to be offered the role of Hal Jordan for the Lanterns TV show in James Gunn's DC universe. How do you feel about this?
I think I'm indifferent to it. I know you probably have a little bit of a stronger opinion of it than I do. I do feel like I don't know a whole lot about the Green Lantern. but from what I've seen, he doesn't really fit the part to me, like the looks of it all. And he's a little bit older. I kind of would have expected us to get maybe a little bit younger of a Green Lantern for this role. But overall, I'm not going to complain too much because I think he is a great actor. I think he could really pull it off. I think overall, I'm just more excited that we did get some DC Universe stuff. James Gunn's universe. That was what was exciting to me. Is that we were getting some new news on it. But this, I can take it or leave it. I'm not going to be upset by it because I think he's a good actor. But those are my worries right as of now.
Yeah, I have some worries too. I have one big uh exciting point of it, and that is the fact that you mentioned he is older, right? And as Hal Jordan gets older, some of my favorite Green Lanterns start to come into play. Hal Jordan is one of my least favorite, maybe because he's just so mainstream and everyone else, that's maybe the only one they know. Or a lot of people say Hal Jordan is their favorite, but he's definitely not for me. We're also going to get John Stewart. So we already know that Hal Jordan's going to be in his Green Lantern career quite a ways. So they're casting him a little older, which probably means my favorite Green Lantern, which is Kyle Rayner, is not far off. And if we could introduce Kyle Rayner and we get his, like, even if this Green Lantern story is like the introduction of Kyle Rayner in this storyline, that would make me incredibly happy. I don't like Josh Brolin for this. I just don't think his persona that he displays is actually Hal Jordan-esque. I can see how some people would say that, but I don't see it personally. But it's fine, and he hasn't accepted it yet, so we don't even know if he's going to do
Yeah,
it. But he does also already play Cable. He already does play Thanos. We're seeing him as quite a few superheroes, and I kind of like the approach that Marvel used to go with, which is kind of some of the untapped younger talent. But that's just me.
I agree with the untapped talent because I think that's usually what makes these movies so fun is you get to learn these new characters, and that's the face we come to associate it with. And I think that's why a lot of people haven't liked the Robert Downey Jr. News is because we've already know that face and we've already become accustomed to him as Iron Man. So I do like that aspect of getting new actors. I would always prefer that. Even though I'm super excited for the Robert Downey Jr. thing, I think he's going to do fantastic. There's that word again. But I do wish they would kind of do some newer actors. I think it would make it more fun. It'd give us a new face to recognize with these characters. So I think some of those points you made about maybe this being like introducing some of the other Green Lanterns and stuff like that, I think that would be super cool. And maybe they just wanted him to, kick off this Green Lantern universe, this character, just to kind of get some more eyes on the show. And maybe then let him pass the torch on to a newer actor down the road, maybe by the end of the season or whatever. I think that could be pretty good.
You think recasting as a different actor would be good at the end of the show?
Well, I don't know much about Green Lantern, but wouldn't it be a different character? Like if we had the Kyle Rayner, storyline,
Right.
he would
Okay.
be.
I wanted to make sure you weren't saying like recast Hal Jordan at the end of the
No,
show.
no, no. I'm saying like that the how Jordan story would move on to a different Green Lantern. That's what I
Yeah.
was saying.
Yeah, and so it's not necessarily he doesn't have to pass the ring on. It's just any Green Lantern. So when any Green Lantern passes away, the ring will find the closest one with the strongest will, essentially, that's worthy of the ring, and it'll kind of pass to them. So we have I just lost his name, but John Stewart, the other Green Lantern from Earth, and Hal Jordan are lanterns at the same time. So it's not like you can only have one Green Lantern from Earth. So that is also one of the things that could contemplate. He could be a mentor-esque
Yeah.
Green Lantern, which I kind of like, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that. If he's like a mentor to like, one of these other Green Lanterns, that would be cool. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, but I just don't love the Josh Brolin. I don't when I and this maybe this is just me being stupid, but when I read the Green Lantern comic books, Josh Brolin's voice is about as far as one I can get away when I'm reading Hal Jordan scripts.
Now you'll have a new voice to hear in your head when you read
Which
the
will be
comics.
frustrating because I can't help it. Like I can't
Yeah,
help
no,
but
I
read
know.
Tony Stark in
Yep.
Robert Downey Jr.'s voice now.
Yep. Yep. I feel the same way. Like if I'm reading like a Star Wars comic or something like that, and obviously Darth Vader's voice doesn't change, but I do read every line of Darth Vader's in his voice. Same with like the Mandalorian and stuff like that. So
Obi-Wan.
I can, yeah,
Everything's
Obi-Wan
Ewan
is Ewan
McGregor.
McGregor. Yeah, so no, I completely get where you're coming from with that.
So that's just my nitpick on it. Well, I mean, obviously, I'll hold full judgment until we actually hear it in live action, but we'll see how they do. So, but as tradition holds for us, the first episode of every month, we like to give you a kind of a rundown of what's coming, what we're excited for, what's on the docket for the month of September. So, Jacob, I'm going to go down through the list, and I kind of wanted to see if you have heard about these movies, if you're excited for these movies, and if you're willing to watch these or not. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear
um,
it. Let's hear it.
the first movie on the docket, one of the most prominent for this upcoming month, is Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. What's your thoughts on Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice?
We really need like a button because this is a big for me. I'm not watching this one. I don't. I've never seen the first one. I really don't care about any of this character or any of whatever this is even about. No, this is not something I'm interested in. Which I know a lot of people are. I know it's like a big franchise and a big IP and all that stuff. Just not for me.
Yeah, I don't know how it is. I was talking to my coworker about it, and he said, yeah, he was kind of excited about it, and I was like, is the first one any good? And I was like, isn't it like a children's like horror movie? And he was like, oh no, dude, like it is not. There's some really inappropriate stuff in there, and so I kind of like looked up like the parent rating for the first Beetlejuice, and I was like, oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, there's no chance I'm ever watching this. This is this is not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So Beetlejuice is a big L for me. Not a chance I'm watching this probably ever. So, but yep, that's a no weekly fix review for Beetlejuice.
No.
Beetlejuice.
No.
We'll be watching Harry Potter before we watch Beetlejuice. So.
Stick to your other podcast platforms if you want to hear about Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, because you're not getting it here.
The next one is Speak No Evil by James McAvoy. It's his horror movie coming out. Have you heard of this? Are you excited?
I have heard of this, and preface everything. I know we are getting into the horror season. I hate horror movies, so a lot of this is probably going to be big earned for me, is because I just don't like them. I don't think I've ever. I think I've watched Insidious chapter 1 or 2. I don't. I don't. I know I only watched. I think I watched
Oh
two,
man.
and I've never even seen the first one. So
Uh,
these are not my type of cup of teas. I hated Insidious. I hate all of them. So no,
yeah. So
I'm not excited for any horror movie.
I'm a big proponent of don't let like that type of stuff in your home. Me and my brother were watching it, and we didn't have a way of watching from a USB, so we had to like burn it onto a disc because that's the only way we had it. And so we watched Insidious one night, and dude, I think we made it halfway, and I took it out of the PS4 and broke the disc in half and threw it away.
Yeah, no.
I am not a fan of this, especially if it has anything to do with like demon possession
Yeah,
or
nope,
killing
nope. Get it
children.
out.
Like nah, it's an L. You can call me a wuss, you can call me sissy pants, whatever you want. I am a ixnay on the demon A. So
Yeah. No, get it out of here. Get it out of here.
so speak no
So
evil, probably a miss for you.
yes, absolutely. It probably it's a bigger miss than Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice for me.
Yeah. Now I will say I love watching James McAvoy in film. I think he's really good, and I think he does a good job at like the twisted character that's kind of like having internal struggles. I think that's from his movie Switch. I think it's Switch.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I do know about that movie.
Yeah. So I he does a good job, but yeah, not a win for me. Third on the docket coming out is the Killer's Game. This is Dave Bautista and Sofia Boutella. He gets diagnosed with terminally ill brain cancer, and he is a assassin, a hitman for hire. And so he goes to his organization and puts a hit out on himself. Turn of events. This is all in the trailer. His doctor actually messed up his reads. He doesn't have terminally ill cancer, but now the hit can't be canceled. So are you excited for this movie? Yes or no?
This is one I hadn't heard of, but I love the premise of what you just described. My only concern is I just don't see. I hate this that I do this, and it's a problem I have personally. But like an actor like him, I can't think of him any other way other than Drax and Batista from WWE. So I'm hoping that like maybe it does. It's something I'm definitely interested in. Whether I'll go watch it in the theaters or maybe is it only coming to streaming?
I believe it's on in theater. It's a theater run.
Okay, so whether I'll go see it in theaters, I probably not. But I love good action movies, and I love the Hitman premise. I love all that stuff. So this could definitely be a big win for me. This could be like one of those surprise movies of the year. If if it does check out, it's just I have a hard time disassociating certain characters, and I feel like every time I see him on screen, I'm just feel like he's gonna Batista bomb somebody. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can get over that myself personally. But that one that does sound pretty good. And I'm glad he's getting another movie. I think he's a good actor overall. Especially he's been casted, I think, really well throughout his career. So no, this one sounds pretty good.
Well, you may have a little bit more trouble dissociating from this film because Palm Clementif is actually the crime boss who plays Mantis in the
Oh,
Guardians.
okay.
So
Yeah, I'll just think this is like some really weird Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
alternative universe.
Yeah.
No, but I'm actually incredibly excited about this movie. I think it's going to be really good. Its director is an ex stuntman, and
Ooh,
so
okay.
anytime a stuntman gets behind the camera, we know one thing, and that's the action will be good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm really excited for this one. It's kind of right up my alley for one of those turn your brain off movies. Kind of like
Yes, yes.
I think this is going to be along the line of like Taken and John Wick. And you said you have a problem dissociating Dave Bautista from Drax. I actually haven't had that issue with things I've watched him in, especially when the character's so different. I think once you take the green paint off, for me, I kind of lose that. And one of the movies that I really saw that dissociation happen right after the Guardians was Glass Onion, Knives Out, a Glass Onion story,
Hmm.
which I don't know if you've seen that, but highly
No,
recommend all of the Knives Out movies.
those are super high on my list because I hear nothing but good things about those. And I actually saw, I don't know if you saw that they announced the budget for the next movie
Yeah,
of the
like two
Knives
hundred
Out, like
sixty
two,
million dollars
yeah,
or something.
which I think the first one was only like 40 million.
Yep.
So big step up for them. So that's exciting. And those are definitely movies for an action fan. I think you have to watch. But no, I think for me, it's not even as much Drax as it is like I think of WWE Batista. Like I keep thinking
Oh,
he's going to come
okay.
out in like a speedo and like, but
Wasn't he the
no,
boogeyman or something? No, just kidding.
no, yeah,
I
literally. He
know he's
probably was in
Batista.
some like WWE universe because they do like weird stuff in there. But no, I love the idea for this movie. This might be one that me and you need to get to the theaters for. I think action movies in a theater always hit a little different.
Oh,
So this
they're
one might be a
always
fun
great in
one.
the theaters. Yeah, man, I can't get over that $240 million glass next Knives Out film
Yes,
because man, that's so much.
it is a
Like,
lot of money.
why are they putting that much money in a straight to Netflix release?
Well, and here's my
How
also
do they
like
make that
how.
back?
Well, here's my thing, right? Like the first movie was a huge hit, and they had a $40 million budget. Like, do you really want to dump that much more money into something when you know they don't need it necessarily? Like, they could do something spectacular with, you know, give them 80 million. Sure, I mean, like even just doubling it is insane. So I agree. It's kind of crazy that they're getting such a big jump.
And the
But
cast is big, but I mean, it's not that big. They're having Mila Kunis, Josh Brolin, Jeremy Renner, Glenn Close. But I mean,
well,
it's not like
and a
those
lot.
actors deserve like 50 million a pop. Like I don't
No,
know where the
well,
budget's
and
going.
a lot of those actors, if you think about it, and sorry to anybody that might think these are like the greatest actors ever. I mean, they haven't really been like I don't know. I don't watch a lot of the movies that she's probably in, but what's the last thing like Mila Kunis was in? Like that was a
Uh,
big thing. Um,
Probably
you know,
Jupiter
Josh
Ascending.
Josh Brolin's been in some big stuff, obviously with Dune 2, Jupiter's. Um, I think she was in that '70s show, but
Oh, Family Guy. I mean, but no,
yeah,
you're right.
but like, so that's kind of where I'm going at. I mean, Josh Brolin, like I said, has been in Dune 2, and Jeremy Renner's obviously Hawkeye. But I agree. I don't feel like these are characters that need that. I mean, this isn't Robert Downey Jr. Like he would command the whole 260 million. So no, I think it's funny. I'm interested to see it though, so I need to catch up on the other ones as well.
Yeah, no, highly recommend those. They're very good, and if you haven't had them spoiled for you, that's actually
No, I actually, yeah, I
very
haven't.
good.
So I could have a really
So
fun
murder
experience with those.
mysteries are not always they're not super fun when you know the ending,
Right?
but this they're very very good. So, but the next one we have is one I know you've heard about, but that's Transformers One. Win or loss? What are you taking on this one?
Another loss for me. I've never been a big Transformers fan. I think the most I ever got into them was like the Michael Bay universe stuff. I thought that was pretty
No.
fun. Shia LaBeouf and all that. But I never was like so into even those that I was like, oh, I want more Transformers content. I'm gonna watch the cartoon. And this doesn't really strike my fancy either. So I'd say this is an L for me. And I know there's a lot of Transformers fan, and I'm happy you guys are getting some more stuff. I feel like you guys get more stuff than like anybody though. But like, no, I just not for me.
Yeah, Transformers 1 seems like something that I would definitely watch on streaming sometime.
Yeah, yeah.
Transformers is sometimes fun. I did not enjoy the last few. I'm kind of along with you. Like as soon as like Megan Fox kind of stopped being in them, I kind of stopped
Amen,
watching.
brother.
I think that's about when the interest like for the story kind of died.
Yeah,
The plot
yeah.
left. So, but Transformers 1 animated. It's got a great voice cast, but it's not an interesting franchise for me. So, but next on it is it's funny we mentioned Megan Fox, but Subservience. Have you heard of Subservience?
No, I have not.
So Subservience is an AI robot, a butler, which is played by Megan Fox, comes into a home, and AI does what AI does. So apparently, like tries to take over the home. They have to stop their AI robots. Is this one that will get your money, Jacob?
No, no, it's not happening. This one sounds worse than all of them. I think I'd probably watch one of those horror movies before I'd sit through this one. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
good. I don't even want to. We
oh.
don't even need to talk about this one anymore unless you really want
Well,
to.
I will say, as far as like watching movies before horror movies, I would definitely would watch like an AI warning movie over a horror movie, like any day. Like AI robot, I really enjoyed that, and this kind of giving those vibes. So probably no reason to have this movie since we have iRobot.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is ranked above Speak No Evil and Beetlejuice for me. But not by much.
yeah. I think that you're getting to that point, like on that list, like when you're putting your list together, they're all just like so uninteresting that like they're just all at the bottom. I don't
Yeah,
even. They're just below the line.
I told you before the podcast. This is like a not a winning month for movies for me coming out, and this isn't all of them, but this is only the ones I felt like were worthy of even giving a mention for us.
Yeah,
Maybe I missed an obvious one. If I did, go ahead and like leave it on the like comment on our Facebook post. Let us know like what we missed, and then we can fix it next week. Talk about those
yeah. We'll talk about it
obvious
then.
ones we missed. But the next one up is one that we both know is coming out, and that's the Wild Robot. That's the DreamWorks new animation film. Are you excited for this one?
I've seen a lot of trailers for this one. I feel like every time I go to the movies, you see a trailer for this one. It's just another one that I don't really I don't know. I don't like this one. And I usually like DreamWorks movies, and sometimes they catch my eye a little bit. This one really kind of hasn't, so I'm gonna say it's an L for me also.
Okay.
But it might end up being a fun, good kids movie. I'm not sure, just not for me.
Yeah, it seems like a fun movie. Yeah, I like the animation style a lot, but it seems a little bit too generic of a story and
Yeah,
something that doesn't like offhand intrigue my interest. So definitely one that I'll be watching when it comes to Disney Plus. But nothing, or I don't think DreamWorks comes to Disney Plus. But whenever this one comes to a screen near me, I'll probably be watching it with my children. But no, for me, it's not necessarily a win. So, and then the last one on this list that I have is Megalopolis. That is the Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito movie that has been directed by Francis Ford Coppola, the director of The Godfathers and Apocalypse Now. How is this one ranking up for you?
this is a movie like I've seen some stuff about it, but I'm not, they're sometimes really good movies, that style of movie. Obviously, whenever you mention The Godfather, I mean that's some people's favorite movie of all time. Stuff like that. It's not something that's really got me super interested. Like I said, I think the winner for me this month is a movie like I hadn't heard of, was just the Dave Bautista movie. That's definitely the movie that's got me the most interested. I wouldn't say this is an L, but I think if there was like a middle letter, like if we had one in between, like a W and an L, it's probably where I'd put
Like an
this one.
M? It's a meh.
Yeah, like a middle. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
meh.
it's a
So
meh.
that's probably where I'm at for this one.
Yeah, the cast is star-studded performance-wise. I think Adam Driver and Giancarlo Esposito are some of my favorite actors to kind of if they're in a movie, I'm willing to watch it.
Yeah,
Francis Ford Coppola is obviously a wizard behind the camera and knows how to get the most out of a movie. But there's been a lot of drama around this one, a lot of accusations with him being super weird on set. There was a point where he wanted to hire an onstage actor for every viewing of this to come out and do a monologue halfway through the movie. Like that was in his original script. So like I, I don't know. It hasn't been well received at the film, like at its viewings for the film critics. It's got like a I think it's got like a 6.2 or something. So personally, I think this one's not going to be a super good win for me. I'm not going to watch it unless somebody comes out and says, "Wow, this one is a must watch," which I don't think is going to happen. So because
No,
both of
especially
my
not
film
with that.
critics that I watch have already said not for them.
It's bad. No, I'm probably the same way. If you're already hearing this bad of stuff, unless someone just acts like their butt off in the movie and just really gets people in the seat, I think that's the only way you could do that. But with all the drama you're talking about already, I don't think any of these actors probably even have the motivation to give it their all. So yeah,
Yeah, he actually made a there's a video of him just like kissing random women on set, and he says I'm sorry if I kiss you, it's because I'm old and you're beautiful.
yeah,
So
yeah,
just a little
yeah.
creep. Don't like
I don't think
that.
you can do that.
Nah, I don't know how he still hasn't been canceled yet, but
Yep,
yeah, it's
it's coming.
Hollywood. They only
It's
cancel
coming.
who they want to cancel. Yeah. But
Yep,
anyway,
that's the truth.
that is all of our movies for the upcoming month. I think it's pretty not great list, but we do have 3 shows coming out that I wanted to kind of see. Just remind everyone of that's coming out. We know they're coming out, and you kind of know our excitement for them. But Agatha All Along is the first one coming out. It's debuting on September the 18th. Jacob, have you with the recent? I don't know if you saw the recent TV spot. Did that get you any more excited?
No, but I will say this. I feel like I've been kind of down on this or on this show, and kind of really for no reason. I feel like I've just kind of been one of those like haters of this show and I don't know why. I don't feel like I said anything super negative, but I really also haven't said anything very positive about this show. So I'm going to go ahead and try to change my tune a little bit and try to be
Okay.
excited for it, because I don't want to be one of those people that's like hating on it without ever having seen it, or obviously all those things. It's not like I've given it like a bad rating already, but it's something I'm going to try to get more excited for, because just I think they deserve at least my full attention for that first episode. And I feel like kind of with how I've been talking about the show, it wouldn't have been giving it my full attention. I kind of go in with that hater mindset, so I'm changing my tune on this one. I am excited for it just to give it a chance, and see kind of what they do with the Agatha character.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay exactly where I was, which is I really like Catherine Hahn as Agatha Harkness, and I really like Aubrey Plaza. I love pretty much, and I think this genre like fits her acting perfectly. Um, and it seems like she's gonna have like a decent role in this, which I'm excited for. But as far as everything else goes, it's just a big miss for me. Style of movie, I don't love this genre. I don't like Halloween. I really hate Halloween. It's my least favorite holiday. It just it's going to be a miss for me just from genre. Now, it can be fun, it can surprise me, and it can be like my favorite of the genre, but it's just, you know, I still am going to have that stigma, and I don't think that's unwarranted because it's just the genre of the show I don't love. It's kind of like Beetlejuice, right? It's like, yeah, I haven't seen it. It might be great, but I don't like the genre, so I'm going to have a negative viewpoint looking at it. So I kind of think that's kind of why my negativity has been coming forth for this show.
Yeah, I think it's still just also the same like thing that we've been saying. Like, I don't think she's a character that really needed a whole show. Like, I that's where kind of where like my thought process has been with it. I feel like she could have just been in another show, kind of like she was in WandaVision, or maybe even throw her in something else in the future. Just giving her a whole show seems like a lot. I think they're really trying to take advantage of that Halloween-esque vibe,
Yeah.
which that's fine. It just kind of seems unwarranted. But again, I'm gonna try to go into it with an open mind. Hopefully, I like it. I'll try to, maybe it'll change my opinion on this genre of stuff, because I'm in the same boat as you are. But I'm gonna be open to it and see if they can pull off a good story here.
But yeah, you keep the positivity, dude, and I'll keep
Yeah, yeah.
my own
We
low
can't agree on anything.
expectations. Yeah,
That's no
yeah,
fun.
absolutely not. And then the next day, uh, the Penguin debuts September 19th on
Yes,
Max,
yes.
which I think we're both very excited for this one, right?
Yeah, I'm super excited for this one because I've talked about how much I love the Batman movie. So being this in the same universe is super cool. I also do like, I think they've already confirmed that Batman will not be in this show, which I really like because he doesn't need to be. He does not need to steal the thunder of the Penguin. If they want to use the Penguin in the upcoming movies and stuff, that's fine, but give us a really good story with him and make us either hate him or kind of like him. That's what I'm excited about, is the fact that they're not pulling Batman into it just to get views. I'm happy that they're just letting Colin Farrell, be the Penguin. I'm super pumped about that. So I think this is a big one for me.
Yeah, I actually think Batman's not being in it's kind of a big L, personally.
Oh,
Just
there
because
we go. The disagreement starts already.
the same way with the Joker. Like the Joker, like the only reason that we care about the Penguin is because he's a Batman villain. Like if you want to tell a gangster movie, just tell a gangster story. Like it doesn't need to be the Penguin. So the Penguin only matters when there's Batman, and I'm a full believer in the villains only exist because the hero is there. So I don't know. Personally, I still think this is going to be good. I think they're going to do a great job with it. Colin Farrell was very good in the Batman, and I'm excited for the story they're going to tell. But I do wish Batman was in it, and maybe even with him not being in it, we'll get to see the undertones of Batman. Maybe his presence kind of hinted at, and maybe why he's doing some of the things he has to do. Which I can be okay with that, but I do wish that he would make an appearance.
Well, I'm sure the only reason he's not is probably because they couldn't get Robert Pattinson on board to do a show. But no,
Oh, I
I
don't
think
know.
you'll see like the remnants of Batman. You might see the bat signal. You might hear the car. You might hear some stuff like that. See things like that. But no, overall, I think I like it because the opposite of what you're saying is I like it that they're not using him just to get people to watch the show. I like that they're doing this own little universe that the Batman is set in. This isn't part of the DCU universe that James Gunn is doing. I love this little section of DC. This is probably the most excited I've ever been for a DC project. Outside of what James Gunn's getting ready to do, because I am very excited for what he's going to pull off there. But no, I love the Batman. I love the Penguin. I think this could be really fun.
Okay, good. And then the last one coming out, sneaking into the last part of the month, is the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon spinoff series. I personally will not be watching this since I haven't finished The Walking Dead. What about you?
I won't be watching it either because I have not watched The Walking Dead. I haven't watched The Fear of the Walking Dead. I'm not caught up on The Walking Dead stuff. But I'm happy for those people that have probably been missing some Walking Dead content, because I know there's still a huge fan base of people out there that like it. I don't really know why they just continue to tell these stories. I'm not the biggest fan of
Money,
that.
Jacob. That's why.
It's going to make some money, I'm sure. But no, it's not necessarily my thing. But I'm not like hating on it. It's just something I probably would watch it if I was caught up on The Walking Dead.
I
But just
actually
since
had
I'm
the
not,
impression that you were.
no, I have not ever watched all of Fear of the Walking Dead. And I don't think I even watched like the last full season of The Walking Dead. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
still have some to catch up there if I wanted to. But I just don't really have that desire.
Well, that's all. That's all we have for the TV shows. Now, we did say we'd be bringing our Rings of Power review. Jacob, do you want to tell the viewers?
Yeah, guys, listen, I messed up. All right, I thought I only had one episode left of season 1. Turned out I had 2, and then I didn't know that they were dropping 3 episodes for season 2 start of Rings of Power. I thought it was just going to be 1. So automatically, right off the bat, I'm 5 hours at least behind. Probably more towards 6 because these episodes run like an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes long. So when I found out, though, that I was 2 episodes into the first season behind, I figured I would just wait till next week to give you guys my opinion on the show. But Zane has full disclosure to talk about any spoilers or anything like that. Since it's just the first 3 episodes, I don't mind if anything gets spoiled for me. If he's even watched all 3 of them, because I know you said you'd watched the first 2. So I don't know if you got through that third one, but go ahead and speak your mind on it. I don't care. I'm good with whatever you say. Yeah,
I just love the fact that you dug yourself in a bigger hole by not watching anything. Like,
yeah, no,
another
I just
episode is going to come out next week, Jacob. Like,
yeah, I just accepted my defeat on this one, but I'll be back next time. The next podcast, I will be fully caught up. Like, I'll be ready for the next episode with
3
you all.
more episodes.
Okay, never, guys. I might be caught up by the week after next.
I'm just kidding.
But,
I don't actually know if they're dropping 3 other episodes.
They better not, dude. What are we dropping? Like weekly movies? Like,
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That is a
That's too
weekly.
much. That's too much. No, I apologize, but like I said, I'll be caught up by the next podcast, hopefully. Unless they are actually dropping another 3 episodes, then we're in trouble. But if it's just another
I
one
mean,
episode,
you can still do it. You know, you don't
oh,
have
I probably
kids. You
could.
know.
I probably could, but just like I don't know, dude. I've talked about it on the fourth before. The first season didn't really grab me because it was pretty slow. But I did hear that it did get pretty good, and then I know people are excited for season 2. So Zane, why don't you let's get off of me for a little bit. Let's move on to
No, no,
season
no. I
two.
want to.
Rings of Power. How exciting is this?
Yeah. So for me, Rings of Power, it was a very exciting show. I thoroughly enjoyed the first season. Uh, I was disappointed by the Hobbit films. I think we've discussed that on the podcast before. The Hobbit films didn't do it for me. I thought the Desolation of Smog was probably the best one, and the Battle of the Five Armies was absolutely terrible. The first one was an unneeded, uh, lengthy film for no reason, and that's just my personal opinions. I know there's people that love it. I know Jacob, you really like the Hobbit series, but that was kind of where the Lord of the Rings left me with what I would say arguably the biggest, best trilogy of all time is the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. And so I was actually hungry for more Lord of the Rings, and when I heard Rings of Power was coming out, I was very excited, and it delivered for me. I'm not a Tolkien fan, as far as like reading the books. I haven't read them. I don't know. Um, I'm not big on the lore or anything like that. So some of the things that a lot of people were very upset about, I didn't have those issues at all. I thought the season was absolutely gorgeous. I thought it was paced appropriately for a Lord of the Rings show. I can kind of take back some of those takes. Kind of sitting on it for a minute. I think the pacing could have definitely been better. And I think the biggest complaint I have with the start of season two is they're telling a little too much. And I think that's one of the issues with season one and the what a lot of people have their complaints with is they may be trying to tell too many storylines that maybe they connect down the line, but they're so dissociated from one another that and there's no interweaving connectivity between them that it's really kind of hard to care about all of it. And also it's a lot to keep up with. There's a lot going on when it's told so slow and you have to be so concentrated because there is a bunch going on. It's not super fun. uh, it's not super drawing. It doesn't make you want to come back and watch it unless you're just really, really hooked on the characters. Now, personally, I have been hooked on a lot of the characters. I've really been enjoying it. Um, I like Elrond and Gadriel's appearance in the season two opening. I don't agree with Elrond's character a bunch. Gadriel, I think is coming with it a little bit more, and I can kind of see how she's getting crafted to be the Lady of the Woods. Me and Chelsea actually watched um the first uh Lord of the Rings movie, Fellowship of the Ring, last night. And so that was her first introduction that she actually like sat down and was like, I'm going to watch this. So that was super fun for us. And I really enjoyed kind of looking back at that. But when I go back and watch the Lord of the Rings, I just see how good they were. And this just doesn't have the same hook. Now, I think there's a lot of potential, but I personally don't think that we're gonna get there. There's some backtracking also at the start of this season. We're telling stories of Sauron before even this series, like before season one of this, and I don't love that. I thought, it's a little bit of gore, and also I think some of the things that happen to him really don't demonstrate his power. And so the ring doesn't have power because of the ring. The ring has power because of what it's connected to Sauron's will, to his soul. And so I think that's kind of like a little misinterpreted, like his own personal power. I feel like they've downplayed him so much that he's kind of lost his threat and he's lost his immense power that they're kind of showing. Now in episode two, we kind of get a glimpse of that, but we don't actually get it. There's some elves that are just making some really dumb decisions. I think we can talk about Celebrimbor. I mean, when one of your most trusted best advisors tells you not to work with somebody, and then you just work with them because they stood outside for like 8 hours. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It seems very stupid, very dumb decisions. And then also Gadriel not just telling them like, hey, being open and honest about who she found him out to be. Like, this is your number one threat of all time. Why in the world would you not just tell them? Like, some of the decisions the characters are making are just the dumbest things that could be. And so all of that's incredibly frustrating for me. And on top of the fact that I feel like it's a little disjointed and the story is not flowing as fast or as quickly as I was hoping it would at the start of season 2. So I've been let down for the first 2 episodes that I've watched. And I think some of the characters they could have done better, could have written them a little bit better. There's a point where Elrond jumps off a 100-foot waterfall to avoid a conversation essentially. Like I don't know. It just seems like we are not dealing with people who have lived for a millennia, and that's part of the issue. Is when you write elves as humans, like with their choices and what they do, that makes an issue. But that's kind of my initial take of Rings of Power. Now that's very short for what we were going to do. But I don't want to ramble. I mean, I just rambled on myself for like 8 minutes. So that's
Well,
we
I
will
think
come
the one
back and talk
question,
more.
yeah, and I think the one question though that like really, so we are still dealing with these three storylines. I think it's three, and they're still all disconnected at this point. Like we haven't even gotten them. Like there's no tie-ins yet.
Um, so the you see the tie-in of the two, um, Arendir, I think is his name. The Black Elf, what's his name?
Okay.
Oh, daggum, I just lost it. Yeah, Arendir. So you see his tie-in to Galgiel's story in
Okay.
season 1. You just haven't
Okay.
seen that yet. So that
Okay.
that's the tie-in, and so that one's kind of done. And then you see the stranger and
Nori.
the Nori, which I love Nori. I think she's incredibly charming. I love her on-screen presence. That I love hobbits. I think that they're just fun to be with, fun characters. And so I'm here for it. And I like that. But the problem is like I wish they would have just done those two separately.
Okay.
And the wizard that they're walking with kind of like we all assume who he is, so either tell us or don't. Like, just I don't know. Like, it just that whole story to me seems to be two different shows. And if they would have just told one of them, and they could have brought in the wizard and the hobbits at the end if their story is that connected. But I just don't see it happening. I don't see it going to be that connected, and I would really like it to get there. Like, let's get on with it. Because they've been journeying in the desert for the first 2 episodes without really uh anything happening.
Okay.
And so I would really kind of like them to kind of make that a little bit faster. Now there is a bunch that happens that we can talk about a little bit more when you watch it, but it
Now,
essentially they're journeying in a desert, and at the end of episode 2 they're still journeying in a desert, except now they're separate.
so is this show, does the season two, one of my big problems with season one is like the lack of action, which I know some people don't really care, like don't mind that if there's not a lack of action. But I feel like there was a lot of build up, for season one. I know it does get to some action towards the end of the season, but does this one start off a little bit more, throwing punches and really getting into it, or is it still a lot more of building up the start of the season?
Yeah, so there's a very very gory scene at the start of season 2 that's not action. I wouldn't call it good action by any
Okay.
stretch of the imagination, but it is action. But I think it's bad for the story. It's one of the parts where Sauron gets beat up or whatever, and I'm not just completely spoil it for you because I don't want to, but it's weakening characters, and you're trying to build these immensely important characters to the Lord of the Rings series, and when you make scenes and you you're trying to tell this overarching story of this character. I'm not seeing the character that you should be telling. Now, maybe I'm just impatient, maybe I'm just missing it. It might be there eventually, but for how it currently sets, I'm not feeling it.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that I was hoping for, is that the start of the season does start a little quicker. And you did
It
say that they're
doesn't.
trying to tell a lot of stuff, kind of in a weird way. The pacing feels a little rushed and stuff like that. So those were kind of the things I was hoping that got a little better. But it does seem, from the sounds of it, it does seem like another slow start.
Yeah. And so I guess the other storyline that we still do have three. So it's Gadriel, the dwarves, and then the
Yes.
hobbits. Which I don't think they're hobbits. I think they're a different type of race, but they're essentially hobbits. So we're gonna say hobbits. So everyone who's a Tolkien fan, don't kill me
No,
because I said
Zane, those
hobbits.
are wanderers, dude. Come on.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. So I am excited to talk about it with you in more detail. There are things I like, but I mean it was not the best start to the season. Still beautiful, still gorgeous, but I do think they're making some really dumb decisions, which I mean I guess they would have to, right? But
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It is something I'm interested to see how this ties up. Now, is this supposed to be done after season 2?
I don't know. I'm gonna say probably not.
Okay. I haven't heard
So
anything else like this is the final season, or I'm sure this will eventually lead into something else. I don't think this is a franchise that people want to just let sit on the shelf for as long as they already have let it sit on the shelf. So I think they're definitely trying to build up more stuff for this and all that. But I hadn't heard anything, so it'd be interesting to see if this season really does push things forward a lot, or if they know it's Amazon. They probably have already signed on for, another two
and
or three seasons.
there's a season 3 already on the books.
Okay. So that's my
Yay.
concern, is that they don't, push it forward enough because they know they have another season. So hopefully I'm wrong there.
Yeah, I definitely think that they'll push this story along. I think the story in season 1 really, I mean, you missed the best two like story pushing episodes without watching the ending of the season. So, I mean, you're going to
Yeah,
be satisfied probably with
I
the
might
last
have
two
it. Yeah, yeah,
episodes.
exactly.
But
So hopefully that's the case. Like I said, these are all based off not having seen the whole first two seasons, or the whole first season after missing the last two episodes. But obviously that's my own fault. But it didn't grip me. So I'm hoping that maybe after I watch these next two episodes, that
yeah,
it
is
does really grip me.
Mordor like wasn't the last thing you saw Mordor formed?
Yes, I think. Man, I need to reread the description of that last episode, because I just know.
Adair
Trying
and
to
his
think.
army march on
Yes,
Austrias.
yes. That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
So
crazy dude.
yeah, it like I could tell the story was starting to get there, but I
They're
was
called
like,
Harefoots, by the way. Not hobbits,
Harefoots,
Harefoots.
not Wanderers,
Not
Harefoots.
wanders, Harefoots. So
Yeah, so
gotcha.
hopefully I get hooked. Hopefully I get hooked in these next
We'll
two
see.
episodes, and I get really excited for season 2.
I don't know. You gotta watch them though to get hooked.
Yeah, I'll get
You're gonna
there.
be too busy
I'll
playing
get there.
Black Ops and
Star Wars
Star Wars
Outlaws.
Outlaws. Yeah, you're gonna be like, I could play an hour of this instead.
Yeah, that's a problem. That is
Can't
a
say
real
you didn't have
problem for
time.
me.
6 hours of Outlaws. That's it.
Yeah, I haven't played that either since the day it came out. That's when I put in those 6 hours.
Nice.
I'll have
But
to,
all
I'll have to get
right.
back into that too.
But all right. Well, I think that's without any more input. I think that's where we're at for this week, guys. A little bit of a different one. We do really like to do these what's upcoming episodes and kind of go through just to kind of let you know what's coming out for September. So we will be back with more Rings of Power in the upcoming weeks. I also got to watch The Fall Guy, which I will be breaking down probably next week for you guys just quickly, as that was exciting. It came to Peacock on streaming this Friday, so I was really excited to watch that, and it did not disappoint. Just a little spoiler. So that wraps up our September rundown of what's coming out. Thanks for checking out the podcast. We hope you liked it, and we'll catch you in the next one.